Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Global Reality. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Let's try this one more time. It is Wednesday, October 31st, 2018, into Thursday, November 1st, 2018. And I say, let's try this one more time because this is, in fact, the second time I've done the show now. That really fucking sucks. I got to tell you, nothing makes me, nothing to make, it just upsets me. It's a waste of fucking time. It's a waste of energy. I hate when that happens. Doesn't happen all the time, but it occasionally does happen. It happened tonight. It really sucks. I did a really fucking awesome show earlier, Halloween edition. And I did the whole show. And after it was done and I hit stop, the whole thing froze and locked up. And most of the time I can go back in. And yeah, it takes a long time. I can go back in and I can reassemble the temporary files and recreate the file. But whatever happened this time corrupted the temporary file, so I was unable to re-put the show back together. So here I am. I got to tell you, I apologize. It's not my fault, but I mean, I apologize if I sound. I mean, I've already done this once. I put all my energy into that show, man. It's like, hour and 20 minutes or whatever. And then spend all the time trying to put it back together and reassemble the temporary files to no avail. So here I am again. And, honestly, now it's not even fucking Halloween anymore. Now it's past midnight and it's not even fucking Halloween anymore. It fucking sucks. I had I did this thing where the top 10 movies that take place on Halloween but aren't necessarily horror movies or Halloween movies. There's a bunch of good ones. Talked about some different stuff. Anyway, I don't know. I guess I'll just go through some news or whatever. I just know I got to be honest with you. I can't fake this, man. That's the one thing I can't fucking do, and all the shit. I can fucking persevere, and I can deal with whatever shit bullshit I got to deal with, which is all the time. But I got to tell you, I can't fake it, man. I just fucking can't. I can't. I put, believe it or not, unless it's just like a short, update information show where I'm just updating you about something. It's not a full show. I mean, I put everything that I've got into everything that I do with this stuff, into the shows, into the films, everything. I really do. And I can't fake it, man. I can't fake it. In terms of I literally everything. I put everything into this work. It may not always, turn out how I want it to, but regardless, I always put 100%, over 100% into this stuff, and I sacrifice everything in life to do this. But the one thing I can't ever do, even if I want to, is fake it. I can't fake it, man. It just sucks. You put all your energy and all your honest intent and everything behind it, and then the fucking goddamn thing bricks on you. And I can't just hit record again and do the same show. I know some people think, "Oh, I could do that." Yeah, you say you say that you could, unless you're just one of those people that's good at being fake all the time. I mean, some people are like that. Some people are good at being fake. Those people usually work in retail sales jobs, where you just get paid to be fake all day, and you have to be, hey, put on how you doing today? How are you? Can I help you? Oh, go great. And inside, you're like, fuck this, fuck the world. I want to fucking kill everybody. Fuck you. Fuck your sister. Fuck the guy over there walking his dog. Fuck the bitch at Starbucks. But you got to put on that professional face and Hi, how can I help you? How can I be of service to you today, sir? Would you like to buy one of my overpriced Japanese imports or whatever? I fucking can't do that. I can't fucking fake it. I can't be fake. Warts and all, I gotta give it to you how I feel. And I gotta be honest with you. I've already felt like I wasted too much time actually working on the film. I spent an hour and 20 minutes. It was a good show though, I gotta admit, man. It was awesome. Um, but I can't just like do it over. I can't pretend that the show I just did for an hour and 20 minutes doesn't exist and just do it over again. You know what I mean? It's not a routine. I can't, and that's what sucks about it. That's what I mean, that's what sucks the worst about losing a show like that when you record when it gets fucking bricked. Because then there's just no, it's the word I'm looking for. Well, I mean, I got to be honest with you. When I do time I do an hour 20 minutes, or whatever. I mean, I'm done, man. I'm fucking all my energy went into that. I remember back in the day when I used to play in bands and stuff. There was a couple of times uh, where I did double duty, and it was the same thing every time. 100% of the time, it sucked. By double duty, I mean like I would go play. One time, I was playing with my band, and we played a show at Trees, the famous club here in Dallas. You know where the incident happened with Nirvana and Kurt Cobain hitting the guy upside the head with a guitar, which I was there, by the way. And anyway, but just a few years. I mean, I saw all I saw everybody at that club, man. Tiny, small place, but all the '90s alternative bands. I mean, on their first tours, I saw in that place. I saw Nirvana on the first tour there. I saw Smashing Pumpkins on the Gish tour there at Trees. I saw Soundgarden on the Bad Motor Finger tour there. I saw who else? A bunch of fucking bands. I saw Weezer on their first tour there. Bunch of fucking bands. But within like 3 or 4 years of seeing these bands there, I was playing there, and we played this big show there when my fucking parents even came. It was crazy. I was only like 19, and after the show was over and we were like packing our gear up, one of my friends runs in and says, "Hey, I was just across the street at this other bar over here, and I guess it was the owner." He was like, I don't know. I just started talking. He's asking me where he's like, "Oh, I just came from another show." He's like, "Oh, what show did you come from?" He's like, my friend Josh Reeves is playing over at Trees, and the owner of the club was like, "Josh Reeves, he's here. He's here. He's playing. Oh my God, my headlining band tonight just quit. Just didn't show up on me. I don't have a headlining band for the night. Tell him to come over here and play another set, and I'll give him $300 or $400, whatever." And the show that we just played at Trees, we just played that show, and we didn't paid anything, and we drove like an hour to get there. So as soon as the band hears this, band's like, "Here's what's going," I'm like, "Dude, I'm done. I'm spent. I just poured my guts out for an hour. I can't fake the same thing with music. I can't fake playing music. It's not. I can't fake it." And of course, everybody's, "Oh, but we're getting paid." All right, so we went over and did it, and it was terrible. It was terrible. I was terrible. The same type of thing, man. I can't just do another show. I mean, it was a great show earlier. That's the thing sucks about it. I can't just turn it off and be like, and just forget that happened, and get up here and be, "Oh, all right, let's do this. Take number two." Like this is phony Hollywood or something. I can't do it. So I apologize. Um, you know, all I can do is try again tomorrow. You know. You hear that breathing? You see, that's called progress. That's what you call progress right there. You see that? So do my breathing. See my breathing exercises. Yeah, see, I'm getting calm. The old me would have flipped the fuck out already and broke some shit and thrown the goddamn computer out in the fucking street and pissed on it. I'm trying to, I don't know how to do those kind of things. But like I said, at the same time though, man, I fucking can't. I can't get up here. That's the one thing. You may not always agree with what I talked about. You may not like the fact that when I'm working on films and like I am now, I'm doing less shows. Again, once these two films are knocked out of the way, it's not like I'm going to stop making films. I'll be jumping off right into whatever the next project is pretty soon after that. You can fucking bet your bottom dollar on it. But it won't affect how many shows I do per week and per month like it has for a long time now, as I've been working on Spellcasters 2 and 3. And so I'll be back to you doing regular shows again. But one thing you got to know, whether or not you like the show or you think that one show is better than the other one, you got to know that every time I come up here, no matter what, I give it to you genuine. I give it to you straight. I give it to you genuine. I don't bullshit you. I don't fucking hold back. I'm giving it to you direct. I'm giving it to you straight, and good, bad, and ugly. Because I can't do it any other way. That's from day one since I started this. I mean, that's the problems I've had. If I can't do it my way and be real about it, I don't want to do it. And that includes, trying to act like I didn't just put all my energy in all of. I mean, I could have gone out and had a fun Halloween night tonight. I didn't go out and do anything. I stayed completely home to work on the film and to do the show. And I did the show and I put all my energy and, effort and time in it. And I could have been spending that time working on the film and I didn't do it, I did an hour, 20-minute show and it's fucking gone. And, it sucks. I guess I could have just not done anything. I guess I could have just said, fuck it, and we'll try again tomorrow. But at the same time, I was like, well, fuck. Might as well do something. But like I said, one thing, no matter what, man, I don't get up here and fake it. I'm not going to get up here and put on a happy face and act like shit, like I'm not fucking, pissed about it. Like I've told you before, I mean, I'm not a fucking. I never wanted to be a radio talk show host, or it's not something I ever wanted to do. But who does? Maybe Rush Limbaugh. He was probably fucking wanting to run his loud mouth at fucking age 9. He was probably behind a fucking crystal radio running his goddamn mouth. Some people, some people are just born personalities. That's not me. I'm a researcher and an info hound, and for the past 11 years a filmmaker, but I'm not a fucking talking head. Never wanted to do that, but hey, you go where it takes you. Anyhow, I've got some news, so I'll just go through some of this news. I'll do that until I can't stand it anymore, which probably won't be very long. Oh God. All right. Okay. Hold on a second. All right. Cool. All right. The rage was starting to build again. I had to try to ward that off because look, I mean, Soulcaster 2 is almost here. You're going to have Volume 3 around Thanksgiving. And December, the box sets will be manufactured, and then January the box sets will start going out. If you haven't got your box set pre-ordered yet, please do so. Again, as I said on yesterday's show, these are going to be real limited quantities, because you have to understand the reason why I have to make these in such limited quantities, and why I won't be offering these permanently and everything, is you got to understand how much how much it takes to make these. Because even the ones that just the regular editions that have 8 discs, if you make 100, I'm only making 50 Blu-ray and 50 DVD. But my point is, if you make 100, 50 Blu-ray, that's still, if it's an 8-disc collection, that's 800 discs I have to buy. It's you see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm only able to make these in small quantities. I'm so excited about it, because I just got all the materials already picked out and everything found. For a while, it's better now. For a while, it was harder to find, uh, cases and all the stuff for the multi-disc sets. But man, I got all that. Oh, it's just going to be great. I'm really excited about not only the films, but also just when the box sets. And I can't wait to hold it. It really is quite an achievement. I mean, if you look at, really go look at, other documentary filmmakers, or go look at regular filmmakers. Look at their output. I mean, in 11 years, I will have put out 8 full-length films, and then a whole slew of mini films, the Reality of Illusion series, and the Secret Messages series, all the audiobooks I've done. I mean, I think my output's been quite prolific over 11 years. A lot of people don't do as much as I've done, and plus, not to mention all the radio shows and interviews I've done and everything else. So yeah, I'm really excited about the boxes. You definitely want to get yours pre-ordered. The last day you have to do that is December 1st. And again, the reason I have to do this and sell these during a short period of time, is so that I can, get everything sent off. Totally different thing than doing, one disc or something. You know what I mean? That's what I'm used to doing when I do, when I was doing discs for the films. You do one film or whatever, it's one disc. This is, 8 discs in each set, 50 of each. So, you're looking at 500 Blu-rays and 500 DVDs you got to have just to make 50 of each. So yeah, I mean, the manufacturing, it can take 2 or 3 weeks sometimes, depending on how fast you can pay. You can get it done quicker if you want to pay a lot more. Well, sometimes it take 3 or 4 weeks, for a regular single disc project to be done. Just the fact that I can it's so much faster now than it used to be, though, with the manufacturing of the discs and stuff. But just the fact that I can even get an 8 disc set done like that quickly, and get it done in December, and then have them ship out mid-January, that's great. But again, that's why I've got to have all of the pre-orders in no later than December 1st. So this is also our fundraising week. Now that it's November 1st today, our operating cost fundraising goal has to be met today. But I know people also want to get the box sets. So let me take a look at this real quick. Let me look at the campaign page here, just so I can tell you exactly where we're at this point. Total 2,200 is the goal for the month total, and we have raised up to this point 1115. Okay, so all right, so minimum of 800. We've got about 1,100 total left, and we need a minimum of $800 today, no later than 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that's not bad. So 8 people, contribute $100 each would get that done. So 8 people out there. We need 8 of you listeners out there to contribute $100 each. Now, here's the thing. Now, some of you may be going, well, I want to contribute and I want to help out with the operating costs this month, but I want to pre-order the box set too. So I want to make sure I, get first in line for that. Well, look, if it comes down to that, go ahead and just pre-order your box set. I mean, hell, if like 10 of you out there pre-ordered box sets today, that would help us cover the rest of what we need on the operating costs. I didn't really think about that. Well, just do that then. If 8 of you out there can, if $100 is all you can contribute or whatever, if 8 of you can do that, hey, do that. We did have a couple of people pre-order their box sets already, so thanks to those who have pre-ordered already. It's gonna be so cool. It's gonna be fucking rad. And like I said last night, I forgot to mention on the previous show when I had talked about it that I was doing all new 4K masters for these as well. So they're going to look really super good and even better than the ones that are out there now. It's crazy. I think at first you can see the difference a lot when I think people at first were like, I don't really see a difference between 1080 and 4K. It's a huge jump. There's not much of a jump between 2K and like fucking 1080. It's really almost indistinguishable. But when I take like one of my films that's mastered in 1080 and then encode it into a 4K master, it looks. So when I'm making a film, it looks one way to me. It looks really good, but then you have to encode it in all these smaller because it's full blast, full fucking. When you're doing the editing, everything's full, high res and everything, and then it's just like we're recording music. Everything in the studio, listening to it. That's why you listen to stuff in the studio. It sounds fucking fantastic. You listen to it through these big speakers, big monitors. If you're ever recording music and you're recording when you got something down, I don't care how fucking good it sounds coming through the monitors, take that motherfucker and listen to it in a car and listen to it in 2 or 3 cars. And then go back and make your adjustments if you need to. If it sounds great in a car or 2 or 3 cars, it's going to sound great anywhere. That's the test. That's true. Absolutely is true. So, yeah, I definitely, when I do these encodes into 4K, I definitely notice a big jump in quality. And so it's going to be cool to have that once the box sets come out. So, listen, again, if it's coming down between, I want to get my box set pre-ordered, but I want to help with the just do the box thing, but do it today. Okay. If you're putting it off or anything else, go ahead and get yours ordered today. If 10 people can get those ordered today, that would be great. We'll have, regardless of how you do it, if you want to still contribute to the operating costs, please by all means do that. If you can do both, that would be even better. If you can afford to pre-order a box set and you can afford to throw $100 towards the operating costs of the month, that's even better scenario. That makes you a fucking, high level fucking general in the fucking Global Reality Army right there. If you can fucking do that. If you pre-order a box set and you throw in, somebody did do that. By the way, I don't have his name right here out offhand, but you're a fucking pimp, my friend. Thank you. I think it was Mark. Yeah. Thank you, Mark. You're a fucking soldier, buddy. I love you. Yeah, you're fucking balling if you can do that. That's fucking. And of course, it was, it wasn't like it was a large amount, but he pre-ordered a box set and he threw in a little bit on the kitty too. That's a fucking. That's a player right there. That's a fucking player. That's a high ranking fucking full bird admiral in the motherfucking global reality resistance army. There you go. But hey, if you can only do one or the other, that's fucking great too. But I'll put you in the fucking Joint Chiefs of Staff if you fucking do both. How about that? I'll officially put you in Mark will be our first. I'll put you in the fucking Joint Chiefs of Staff for the global reality. You fucking pre-order a box set and throw a donation in. Fuck yeah. What the fuck I'm talking about. So let's get this done, man. Let's not have any more delays. We just got to get the minimum of $800 in here today. Again, everybody pre-orders a box set, we'll be good. So just everybody that, I've never fucking had one of those gay ass fucking Alex Jones money bombs or anything. I always just try to always just get the fucking minimum, whatever we need or whatever. But, maybe let's just make today like the fucking box set day. Everybody that's able to fucking pre-order one today, do it. You'll only have a month from today. December 1st is the last day you have. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes this month with everything. We're still going to have, let's see, 8, 18. We're still going to have about $300. If we get the minimum 800 today, that'll be great. We'll still have about $300 left over from that we'll need in another week or so for the other stuff that'll come up for the other bills and whatnot. But, yeah, I just want everybody to be able to have a chance to pre-order and get one of these since, this month is going to be the only month you'll have to do that. So let's rally the fucking troops. But yeah, hey, I'll give you a shout out and I will fucking put you in I don't have any fucking way to make any member cards or a plaque or anything right now. Maybe I will in the future, but maybe we'll do that for the big dollar contributors. Oh, fucking, yeah. Don't worry though. I won't make you salute me or wear one of those gay ass, white Navy looking suits that they fucking do in Scientology or anything. You're good on that. Don't worry. I always thought that was hilarious. You see, like Miscavige and fucking Tom Cruise. They're fucking both. What's funny is they're both midgets. Fucking Tom Cruise is a fucking midget, but Dave Miscavige is even midgetier. I mean, my God, Tom Cruise looks like a fucking 6'8" Amazon standing next to Miscavige. That dude's a dwarf. Dude makes Ronnie James Dio look tall. Magic Midget was like, what, 5'4"? Yeah, I'll tell you what. So don't worry. So we'll do something like that, though. We'll do like the, Global Reality Joint Chiefs of Staffs. Motherfuckers who come through for the cause get to be in the cabinet. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Always reminds me of one of my favorite Bill Hicks lines. Let me plaster on a fake fucking smile and plow through this shit one more time. That's gone through my head more times than once. Always goes through my head when I have to do something like, I just can't do it, man. I'm gonna give you some show. I'm gonna give you some information. I'm sorry. I'm gonna give it to you. Do my breathing again. Oh man, I gotta be honest with you. Yeah, I just can't do it. I can't fake it, man. I put everything. I did a fucking show already, man. A fucking hour and 20 minutes. Jesus. It's tough I just look at some of this shit. I'm like, do I really have to talk about this again? It's like, once I talk, that's why I don't like repeating myself very much. People say, well, you don't talk about this subject. I never hear you talk about this subject. And I'll be like, well, I talked about that subject extensively 6 years ago, like it's somebody's fault they didn't hear from some fucking show from 6 years ago. I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm just saying, But that's how I am. I mean, if I talked about something extensively 6 years ago, I'm not going to go back into it again. It's just how it is. I can't really describe it. It's kind of like a block in my brain, a mental block. It's just like I can't do it. So that's how this stuff is. When I look at these news, I'm like, man, I already gave all my. It's irrelevant that no one heard it. I heard it. I know I did it, but yeah. Speaking of Bill Hicks, you guys hear? I'm sure this set the fucking. I'm sure this lit the fucking. People, the fucking, what do you call them? I don't know what you call them. The people that believe Alex Jones is Bill Hicks. The retards. That's what you call them. It took me a minute. Couldn't remember what the term was for those people that believe Alex Jones, Bill Hicks. Retards. There you go. Can't believe I forgot that. That's what you call those people. Okay. So the retards, I'm sure the retards that believe Alex Jones is Bill Hicks are having a flip out over this new movie coming out. Richard Linklater, you know, the guy that did Dazed and Confused and Scanner Darkly and School of Rock, and what else is he done? Waking Life, Boyhood, and you know and of course, as you know, he's been buddies for a long time with Jones. I got to tell you, Linklater has been on my list for a long time as someone I have suspected of having connections and being connected to Scientology, and I've just never been able to really pin him or nail him down to anything. But of course, the time when I was doing that research and trying to connect him to Scientology, you know what I mean? You just get these gut feelings about certain people. You see their connections, see people they associate with. You're just like, that guy. And that's where the whole, thing about the free zone Scientologists that I talk about in Spellcasters 1.5. Again, if you haven't seen Spellcasters 1.5, it's in the download shop. You should definitely get a download of that and watch it. So it very well could be that Linklater is a free zone Scientologist. I don't know. I suspect that may be the case, but he's friends with Jones. He had Jones in Waking Life and in fucking Scanner Darkly. They had a little predictive programming in there about Alex Jones running for president, which I've told you many years ago was going to happen. He's heading for politics. So Linklater is now making a movie about Bill Hicks. Look, that thing is fucking hilarious to me. You know what else is interesting is that, who was it that I heard was there? Well, there actually is, there's footage. One way, if you really wanted to know that if you didn't already know, number one, it's ridiculous, it's stupid, it's retarded. But if you really want ultimate proof that they aren't the same person, just go pull up the footage of them at Waco, at the Waco siege thing. There's footage of Jones there as Alex Jones, and there's footage of Bill Hicks there. So they were both in the same place at the same time in life. So, I'm sorry, that whole thing is just ridiculous. But anyway, I'm sure that piece of information with Linklater doing the Hicks film now and his connections to Jones, I'm sure that, I'm sure that's just lit those motherfuckers on fire. It's hilarious. Interesting though, the person who started that whole Alex Jones, Bill Hicks thing was associated with, some people I exposed many years ago. He used to be on a network with it. Well, not all of them, but there were a lot of people on that network that were absolute CIA shills and feds and infiltrators. There was a bunch of them. But one of the guys that originated that Alex Jones, Bill Hicks thing also worked with another guy who since I've come to realize is a shill, and that's Robert Grodin. You can see Robert Grodin in my first film, 9/11 New World Rising. He's always in Dealey Plaza, and he sued the city of Dallas to be able to hand out conspiracy stuff down there. The guy's a fucking total shill. I exposed him as that any years ago, but the guy who started the Bill Hicks Alex Jones thing is actually an associate of Grodin who did a bunch of illustrations for Grodin's books. It's interesting stuff there. But look, one thing that I've come across, there are absolute cases of this, and I believe that this, for whatever reason, the people that started this whole Bill Hicks's Alex Jones thing did this so that when people start finding evidence of actual cases, as I've talked about, actual cases where people have been replaced by lookalikes, no matter how much evidence you might have, the baby gets thrown out with the bathwater because everybody's already been beaten over the head with ridiculous shit with no evidence connected to it, like the Bill Hicks's Alex Jones thing. And I didn't really think much of it until I started doing this Spellcasters work with Volume 2 and Volume 3 and the stuff I've been finding out, and then finding out that people have been getting replaced for a long time. And just like I've told you a bunch of that, that Beatles song on Let It Be, which of course when Paul put out his despecterized version, of course he had all that shit cut out, and that's what John was dropping hints right there, like the CIA, like the FBI, like a Rolling Stone, like B.B. King, like Doris Day. All these people that he names, and then you look into that and you find all these people, there's stories going back decades, 3-4 decades of Doris Day getting killed and being replaced with another person, B.B. King, and legitimate stuff connected to all this. I mean, look at the early B.B. King photographs and listen to the early B.B. King records. It's not the same guy. The guy who later, but because the replacement, the same thing with Fall, because the replacement had the job for a much longer period of time than the original one did, nobody notices. And that's the same thing that's happened with Fall. The replacement guy has been around much longer than the original guy was. So being able to go undetected all these years has been much easier. But it's a legitimate thing. And I'm not fully convinced. To be honest with you, I'm not fully convinced that Kurt Cobain really died. After digging deep into this and looking and finding all this new stuff I found, all this connections to the MK Ultra stuff and all this, and the stuff about the crime scene, I don't know, man. I mean, a lot of stuff about the crime. Number one, the first guy on the scene at the Kurt Cobain crime scene, the first thing he said when he arrived on the scene was, "Wow, that's the smallest amount of blood I've ever seen for a shotgun suicide." Right, because normally when somebody kills himself with a shotgun suicide, it's a huge mess. In some cases, the entire head explodes. I mean, sometimes when people put a shotgun in their mouth and pull the trigger, there ain't a fucking head left, folks. Nothing. Sometimes, depending on what the angle is and what kind of shell they're using, if they're using buckshot or something, oh shit, man. Ugh. But you can even see in the photos, and you can listen to the reports from the first arriving people on the scene. The first cop on the scene said, "I've never seen such a small amount of blood for a shotgun head wound before." And why is that? Well, blood pressure. You ever seen people do shots on cadavers and on animal stuff that are already dead? They don't bleed. When the heart is pumping and there's blood pressure going, just like you see, like Kill Bill or something, they whack somebody's head off and the stream comes out. I mean, that's the same type of thing. It's because of blood pressure. If you shoot something while it's dead, you're not going to have that much. So that was the thing. He was shot after he was already dead, after they gave him the lethal amount of heroin. But the other suspicious thing is there was no, even at the pictures that you see where you see his feet and his legs and his torso and shit. The other thing missing from that is he was supposed to have been there 4 days before they found his body. Yet there was suspiciously no rigor mortis. There was no bloating. These things happen quickly, folks. I know it's morbid. I know it's sick, and a lot of people don't like to be informed about these things. But that's what I've learned. Is there's a reason, there's people, oh, it's not polite to talk about those things. Well, believe it or not, just like everything else, somebody has figured out that and capitalized on it, ladies and gentlemen. So you need to be informed about everything, no matter how, disturbing it might be. The fact of the matter is, if somebody's dead body had been in that room for 4 days, there would have been bloating. Sometimes there's bloating to the point where their stomachs explode. It would just, but his body was there for 4 days, and there was no decomposition at all. Oftentimes, there's what they call cadaveric spasms. After, very shortly, actually, within 24 hours. Or less, maybe. Very shortly after a person is deceased, the decomposition starts to happen rather quickly, and you have what they call cadaveric spasms. And what will happen is that arms will stick up, legs will stick up. Morticians actually have to. It's crazy because they do some fucked up shit to your body after you're dead. When you're at the mortuary, oh man, it's fucking brutal, dude. It's fucking brutal. They break legs and break backs, break spines. When you're looking at your loved one in the coffin, before you put them in the ground, you don't even know that, man, they fucking, they broke my loved one's back. They broke his legs. They broke his arms. They have to do that because of the cadaveric spasms. Because this is no joke. There have been people who have fucking popped up. Like pop, like it's like they're literally like they're sitting up straight in coffins before at funerals. It's not fucking funny, but it's hard not to laugh at it in a way. So yeah, the mortician, they break spines and legs and stuff, so there's not cadaveric spasms during the decomposition thing is going on. But with all the evidence, everything you see from the Kurt Cobain murder scene, there's very little blood. There's apparently no decomposition that's happened whatsoever. After 3 or 4 days, the stink would have been unbearable. There would have already been maggots in there. I don't know, man. I really don't know. And that's kind of what I say in the film, because I just don't know. Was there a conspiracy to murder Kurt Cobain with a bunch of people involved? Absolutely. But even maybe that was stage theater. But for sure, when I first started hearing about the Alex Jones, Bill Hicks thing, I just knew it was bullshit based on, stuff I've seen myself. But the motive for doing that didn't become apparent to me until I got into doing this work and started legitimately finding out cases where people have been replaced with lookalikes and doubles and everything else. And they do it. They've done it with presidents a bunch. I don't know if you guys have kept up. I don't know if I've talked about it on the show. I've been so busy, man. I don't get a chance to keep up with every single little news item anymore, but I've already seen stuff this year. I think it was even in the fucking mainstream news where, and again, I haven't done a bunch of research in this, so if this is complete bullshit, I apologize. But I swear, not too long ago, yeah, there were already people showing the evidence for like there being multiple Melania Trumps, and in a bunch of pictures, you can tell you like, yeah, that's not the same chick. They had a few different Obamas. They had 5 or 6 different Bushes. It's something that's been going on for many years that the general public is just not informed is going on. And there's a lot of stuff like that. And your average person hears it, they think it's bullshit, or they think it's something out of a movie or something somebody made up. But again, that's what keeps the plausible deniability in place, and that's what allows them to keep doing this stuff. But just like I've told you, you've probably seen that picture. I mean, there's a picture where they had so many different falls, and there's a picture where they had a meeting on the fucking boat, and you can see the different looks that they'd all had. It's fucking mind blowing. So yeah, I think that that was definitely one of the reasons. So this guy who did the most recent shooting was the Pittsburgh synagogue. You notice how I'm sure there's again, I don't know because I don't keep up. I'm sure all the right wingers are falling all over themselves, and all the alt righters are falling all over themselves to call this some sort of Soros Democrat false flag. I'm sure they're falling all over themselves to say that it was some sort of CIA operation. And most of the time I would agree with that. In this case, I don't agree with it. This guy was not an operator at all. You know why you know he wasn't an operator? There's one very distinct reason why you know this guy wasn't an operator. This guy was actually a real, actual crazy person that did this shit. You know why? Can you guess why? Because he's alive. They don't let their patsies live. That's part of the fucking operation. That's been standard operating procedure for decades and decades and decades. Pretty much since the inception of the national security apparatus in this country with the Pentagon and NSA, CIA, everything else. Patsies don't live. Patsies are neatly eliminated and taken care of. That's why so many of these, school shooters and on and on and on, and the Las Vegas shooter, they get fucking Oswald. They get patsied. It was the original. Set up your patsy and then eliminate them. Whenever they catch one of these guys, whenever they get one of these guys that does this, a Dylan Roof or whoever else, these are when you know you're dealing with the legitimate, actual crazy people, legitimate wild card rogue people who went out and did this. But at the same time, it, to me, brings up a larger point that I don't think a lot of people may think about very often or even talk about that often. And it's something I've seen again and again and probably not talked enough about myself here on the show. But, yes, beyond any shadow of a doubt, there are situations where you've got people that are clearly mind-controlled assassins or mind-controlled operatives or mind-controlled killers, whatever it may be. Yes, there are instances where this does happen, has happened, and it's absolutely real, and it's gone on for decades. But it's not the case, and it's not true in every single happening and event. And one of the things that I don't think people are talking about enough is this thing where it used to be that they would have to, like like a Sirhan or a Hinckley or somebody like that, someone who, or even Oswald, someone who was groomed, somebody who was programmed, and then after they're groomed, programmed, and everything else, they are rolled out when they're needed for whatever assassination or whatever thing they're going to be taking the fall for. But a new phenomenon that to me has really only come about in the really recent times is this thing where they don't even need to do that anymore. They've got people now like Alex Jones and others, and he's not the only one. You can't give them all the blame, but can't give them all the credit, or vice versa. But like this most recent shooter, you listen, I've talked about this many times. You get people, because I've dealt with these people. The only reason I have any right to discuss this subject is because I've dealt with these people, because I've been doing this 11 years. Let me tell you, I've dealt with a lot of fucking fucknut crazy people. Because, as I've said many times, it's just like drugs and alcohol. Information in a way is like a drug. And I have touched a little bit on this with what I talked about last night, but I have experienced this where information and info and knowledge can affect people in the same way that drugs and alcohol do. They become addicted to it. They have withdrawals if they don't have it. And if they're already a little bit mentally unstable, little manic depressive, little paranoid schizophrenia, little, pick your descriptor. I think a lot of those things are kind of overblown too. A lot of those are creations of the psychiatric hierarchy and the psychiatric establishment. And I think that some of those diagnoses are accurate in some cases. But if you really boil it down to it, virtually every single person, if you really go down, there's so many of these so-called disorders that really every single person on the planet, you could really say, if you really wanted to, you really say that every single person has one of the other of these. So that's why for years, it's like, I don't think anybody, life just fucks you up, man. You know what I'm saying? The longer you live, people say, life makes you crazy. Life gives you, your experiences and things you experience and trauma and everything else. It's very difficult to be immune from that. It's very, very difficult for the skid marks of life to not leave their mark on you permanently. So, some of these diagnoses and whatnot, but my point is that if you already have someone who's a little bit off anyway, I've seen it time and again, man, throwing drugs and alcohol in the mix, it's like throwing gasoline and napalm on a fucking forest fire, man. It just exacerbates it and makes it worse than it already was. And that's why some people can't do drugs and alcohol, and other people can do tons and never have a problem, never be addicted, and never act a fool. And so the people who are pulling the strings and the people who are doing all this social engineering now have figured this out too. And so now, I think a lot of the disinformation, people have for years This is why I've been trying to expose these disinfo artists and these shills and all these people who are not telling the truth. This is why I've spent so much time and energy doing this all these years. Because I've seen this coming. Yeah, like I said, of course there are always, and there always have been, there always will be certain individuals who are programmed and created. But now with YouTube videos and with, alternative media and with all these different people purporting to tell the truth and with nobody being able to, believe me, it sucks for me because I get lost in the sea of that, because you got people doubting whether or not, and with good reason, you got people doubting whether or not what I'm telling you is legitimate because there's so many other disinfo shills and artists out there. How do you know? I get it, man. I get it. It's real. But what I'm saying is somebody like this fucking guy, this Pittsburgh guy, I don't think this guy was programmed or worked for anybody. I think this guy is just a fucking mentally unstable dumbass. And there's a lot of those out there. Again, I've dealt with a lot of them in my time on doing radio, folks. I sure have. I've dealt with people just like this guy. These guys are mentally unstable and not very smart to begin with, unfortunately. And they get this stuff, this conspiracy stuff gets in their head, man. It gets in there and it gets them believing shit that's just not real and not true. What was one of the things this guy said? Trump is a puppet for the Jews. Come on. I mean, that's just, but you can laugh at that, but that's the point I'm making here. That's just being misinformed. Trump's not a puppet for the Jews. He's a puppet for the Zionists. And the distinction between Zionism and just someone being Jewish has been the waters of that have been completely murked up from the internet and from just, people who are from the white supremacist side or, the Aryanist side or whatever. It's all been murked up, man. Not everybody that's a Jew is a Zionist, and not everybody that's a Zionist is a Jew. That's a fact. Hey, your old vice president told you that. Remember back 2008, 2009, early days of the show? Every other fucking week I was playing that clip and laughed my ass off after fucking Obama first got elected. I must have played that clip on the show 50 times back then. I'd pull it up right now. I don't have a way to play it where you can hear it, but let's pull that motherfucker up where, let's see. There's it at. Oh, I hadn't seen this clip in a while. I'm glad I remembered this one. Your vice president told you, though. He told you straight up. Watch that video if you had never seen it. Whereas there it is. Joe Biden, proud to be a Zionist. And watch this. Look at this fucking kosher mafia guy that's interviewing him. And watch how he fucking wraps. He starts wrapping his hands around the guy's hands in the microphone like it's a cock or something. And Joe right there tells you straight up. I mean, that's why I love that clip and played it so many times. I mean, very rarely do you get a public official like a Joe Biden telling you unfiltered, unwatered down fucking truth like he does in that clip. That's probably the most direct truth Joe Biden probably has ever told in his fucking life in that clip. When I was young, guys, I always said that if I were a Jew, I'd be a Zionist. I am a Zionist. You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. Boom! Joe Biden, I salute you. I'll never salute you for anything else. I salute you, sir. Thank you for being, at least on that one little tiny thing, one time back in 2007. Thank you, sir, for telling the fucking unfiltered truth. That is the truth. But these dummies, man, that are already mentally unstable and already not fucking smart to begin with, they don't know the distinction. They don't know the difference. They don't know the history. Not everybody that's a Jew is a Zionist, and not everybody that's a Zionist is a Jew. And before you go making blanket statements like that, you better know what the fuck you're talking about. And this is the problem, man. The majority of people out there, that's why I can't listen to these. I can't listen to these podcasts, conspiracy podcasts. Man, I can't. All I hear, I don't hear anybody who's saying anything that's from their own research. All I hear is shit people are saying that somebody else already said, and they're repeating it. And this is the problem. Because people are repeating bad information over and over again. And this is what allows people to just continue, and they're going to continue scapegoating people who are so-called conspiracy theorists and everything. This is how they're trying to shut down truth. And here's an article, A Nation Addled by Conspiracy Theories. As the Pittsburgh shooting showed, we increasingly prefer tribe-affirming stories to Occam's razor. To become familiar to the point of routine after a shooting, a bombing, a national crisis of any sort, partisans on both sides fling fact-free, post-truth conspiracy narratives at each other. Within minutes of any tragedy, there are talk of setups, crisis actors, government patsies, and alternative plot lines so outrageous they could make a fiction writer blush. Launching broadsides against logic and reason, the theorists lob conspiracy explanations and alternative facts to the delight of their followers on social media. Before we even know how many people have been killed, the identity of the suspect, or the nature of the event, everyone is off to the races, riding their personal political hobby horses. And that's, again, this is the other thing I've been exposing, I've been on top of, and why I separated myself from the so-called truth movement years ago publicly in 2009. I did that. I went on air and said, I am not a part of your soul, because this is why my work into the CMP and that whole end of it was important. They said it right there. Because the politicalization of so-called conspiracy theories. And that was one of the first things, even before I knew about the CMP, when I started becoming suspicious of Jones and the whole thing. Because it was constantly this thing where everybody they were saying that was the New World Order, and they were all left-wingers. And I'd already known from my research into the Kennedy assassination and other things that that's just not the case. There are people of all political associations involved in this conspiracy. And if you don't know that, then the person who's trying to tell you that's the case is a straight up liar. And in this case, it was Jones and a bunch of other people like him. You know, that the whole conspiracy and the whole New World Order is all totally left wing, and the right wingers are the good saviors, and they're not involved in it at all. And if you tried to bring up any of those people to Jones, he'd just shut it down. Again, this is the problem. And that's why I will not let these clowns, that's why I talk about this stuff, because I'm not going to let these people try to sweep me in to any side. Because I've been exposing left, right, and center from the very beginning, and I always have and I always will. And this is where it's going to fall apart on them. You know, another thing I told you in the very early days, 2008, 2009, I told you back then, it's starting to come to fruition now. I told you back then, too, what's going to bring this stuff down in the end is not going to be me or some other person or conspiracy theory or this person's video or that person's website or that person's podcast. It's not going to be any of those things that's going to bring this stuff down. It's going to be the fact that people who have listened to all these different things and made their own decisions and done their own research and come to their own conclusions on this, eventually there's going to be enough people, and I think we're starting to reach that point where there are enough people out there now who at least have some idea of some of these things. A lot more than there were 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. But I've said for 10 years, none of that stuff is what's going to bring them down. It's going to be, what's going to bring these people down is they're going to overstep their hand. And they're starting to do that more and more. They get arrogant. They're thinking that they're still thinking that we're on an informed level that we were 10 or 15 years ago. And the public at large is a lot more savvy now. And so that's what's going to end up happening. They're going to end up overplaying their hand and do something fucking so dumb in broad daylight that everybody who's even remotely heard of some of these conspiracies is going to go, oh shit, the conspiracy theorists were right. And that's going to start to happen. It's going to happen more and more. Upon learning about the massacre at the Tree of Life Synagogue on Saturday morning in Pittsburgh, President Donald Trump claimed that armed guards might have prevented the tragedy. He did so even though we didn't know yet how many casualties there were. or that 4 presumably armed police officers had been wounded in responding to the attack. Many commented that Trump's remarks appeared to be a form of victim blaming. Few news reports mentioned that his ham-handed remarks were made in response to questions from reporters about whether it was time to re-examine gun laws. The hot takes on whether guns were the cause or the solution to the violence began while the blood of the victims was still warm. Blah, blah, blah. Well, basically what they're saying here is that, and this is what I was talking about. And this is why they're going to try and go after and try to, and they've been trying to do this for a long time. Let me tell you something, it's going to go on longer than that. It's been going on for decades. Even before Y2K, that was one of the Y2K things they were trying to do. And of course, Jones was involved even back in that, trying to hype that up. They were trying to do that. I've told you about that many times, talked about in the films. Was it Operation Megiddo, Project Megiddo, Operation Megiddo, one of those? Which is this pre-Y2K plan to take Christian gun-owning people and people who believe in a New World Order conspiracy and believe in all these conspiracies and round them up and put them into camps. That's what they wanted to do. That's why they were riling up specifically the, like I've talked about before, the soldier of fortune types, the survivalist types. That's why it went from being like, conspiracies and UFOs and aliens, and then all of a sudden, we're throwing in conspiracies and 9/11 truth with storable foods and guns and ammo and shit. That was another time when I was like, wait a minute, something else is going on here. This thing where they're trying to associate these things one with the other. And that's what they've been trying to do. I mean, the Megiddo thing was a part of that. They wanted to get people thinking that, like even Jones was saying that, the New World Order's taken over on Y2K, So you had people who were hunkering down and buying weapons and everything else, and that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to rile up people who believed in conspiracies enough to go out in the streets with their weapons so they could all get rounded up and have their guns confiscated. And again, Jones was trying to instigate that. It fell through, bricked. They didn't achieve it there. But this is what they've been trying to do for many decades. They want to be able to create a false happening to demonize people who are conspiracy theorists or alternative thinkers, whatever else, to the point where even if you were somebody who wasn't around when that stuff was going on, you will automatically get thrown out, the baby with the bathwater, because of that association. Again, I've seen this coming, folks. I've seen who was going to engineer this. I knew they were going to use this to try and push a new civil war and to push all this racial division, and they have. And it's all sides, not one side or the other, because all of this stuff is coming from the big international bankers, the Royal Institute of International Affairs, the London School of Economics, the Fabian Society out of England. Those are the people that control all our big government agencies and the think tanks and everything else, and they directly affect our policies on behalf of the British Royal Crown. That's the whole thing. Why do you think their logo is a wolf in fucking sheep's clothing, for God's sakes? And again, this is why I've spent so much of my time exposing these shills, exposing their tricks, exposing their lies. And that's why they allow these certain people to, people like David Wilcox. I mean, my God, the guy has spread more disinformation, more lies, more fear mongering. He should not have a career. Should have been running a rail a long time ago. Yet he still gets put on TV and on Ancient Aliens. Why? Well, you know why. Because the ones that lie and do the job right are the ones that get to stay in the limelight forever. They're never going to let somebody like me, who gives you the real unfiltered truth, be on a regular TV show or have any sort of regular attention. They won't even mention me, even to say how crazy I am. or how wild my conspiracy theories are. They won't even fucking talk about me to say I'm full of shit. That's how much they don't want me to be in the public eye. Okay? But it's kind of giving me a freedom in a way, you know? Because I truly got, I wish I had the camera going. You could see my hand. If you take your hand, right? Take your hand and make your fingers together. You know how you make a zero? You can hold up a finger for one. Take your finger and hold a zero and then look at it. Now you're looking at the exact amount of fucks I have to give. 0. Because fuck them. If they're going to ignore me and they're not going to pay attention to me, I'm going to say what the fuck I want to say. And I'm going to put whatever I fucking want to put in my movies, and no one's going to stop me. No matter how fucking crazy or outlandish it might be, I'm going to fucking say it. Because they can't even fucking acknowledge me enough to tell me to fuck off. So, that's why for so long now, everybody's been open game to me. I'll expose everybody. There ain't no sacred cows here. And yeah, believe me, there's been plenty of people I've had that I admired at one time that I've later then exposed. Part of the territory. Comes with it. All right, guys. I think that was a valiant effort on my part tonight, considering that I already did an hour and 20-minute show, and I was still able to gut up and give you something here tonight. So everybody, please pre-order your box set today. This is pre-order the box set day. Every single abled man, woman, and child that can pre-order the box set today needs to do that. As we get these operating costs covered. And I'll do a short update show later in the day to let you guys know where we're at and what the progress is and how far we are at that point. So keep it locked here and look for the shows to be posted on the YouTube channel and on our Gold Reality Facebook page and the Josh Reeves Filmmaker Talk Show Explorer page. So $800 is our goal today, minimum we need by 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. My name is Josh Reeves. I love each and every one of you. We'll talk again soon. Take care.